are we? Where are we? I don't want you guys to be examining my weird position. So now at the same time, I gotta log myself in. Oh, look at that, bloody beautiful, mate. Oh, I can barely see that. Hello, hello. Let me log on to the world. Log on over here, mate. Oh, here I am, here I am. Turn it down a tad. Get in there. What's going on, Chonk? So last time I was doing 18s. Let's do 28 this time. Whoa, pulling out the big guns. Is the sound okay, boys? I'm trying to play with the microphone, constantly trying to make it better. This is amateur over here, boys. I don't know anything about anything, but just trying to... Oh. Chonk, good to hear, dude. Ugh. How are you, Chonk? What's going on, man? Do a bit of exercise on this cold night. Spent the whole weekend sick. I've done nothing. Nothing of value. Chonk, man. Yeah, dude. Get out of here. 1:39 a.m. Go to sleep, dude. Get some rest. No, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, dude. Have a good sleep, man. Sleep is that most important thing, isn't it? Oh, man. I was saying the whole time that this is Nautilus, but it's not. It's Maxim. That is not Nautilus, and I reckon that is Nautilus as well. But this is Maxim. Enoch, what's going on, man? The thing with these machines from back in the day, they don't have a lot of adjustability. It's like you get what you get. Oh my God, come on. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, Henok, I've basically doubled the size in one sweep with these four machines that are very big. So I'm happy, dude. I'm happy. Wave. I love how this is so delayed. It's like 5 seconds delayed. Henok, I am not gonna do much again today. This is all. Oh my god, this is annoying. Let me fix this. Lock the screen. Um, that's better. Yeah. So this is kind of like a deload for me. I'm not right. I'm sick. Headache, full chest, sore throat, all that. So I'm not gonna do much. I'll just warm up a little bit. You know, warm up very very little bit, and chill out with you guys here. Have a chat, and that's it. Nothing else. You have to save all that energy for a better day on days like this. YouTube app is trash. I use Firefox browser. Oh, okay, okay. All I've ever done is use the app, man. I've never used anything else. Hey Sam, how are you, dude? Yeah, it's looking nice, isn't it? Really nice, man. I'm feeling it out pretty cool. Pretty cool way. Um, yeah, I don't add to it very often at all. The last time I added something was that cable tower thing, and I got that from Bells of Steel. They hooked me up with it, like so it was no cost to me, other than importing the thing. So it was a bit of a cost. Um, but yeah, space is a big issue when you're building out your own gym at home, and so a lot of these pieces, like the row machine and the incline, and especially these two machines, it's a whole lot of space for one function. And so, generally speaking, when you're dealing with limited space, you would never buy something like this, right? Because it's too much of space gone in one exercise. But for me, in my history, this was a priority. Like I really wanted to get this. I had no idea it was gonna, stay this low in terms of pricing. I thought it was gonna blow up like a lot of the other stuff that blew up on the auction. But a lot of people don't really understand, the things that perhaps we understand. The general populace is all about show muscles and whatnot. Even though this is glutes, probably side glutes don't get the same attention. I don't know. It just depends, right? The things that really, really went hot on the auction was the leg extensions and the leg curl. That was like in a couple of $1,000s per machine, which is interesting. That was like the first thing that went nuts. And the interesting thing is as well is that was the first thing that was being auctioned off. So everyone's just keen for that, so those two machines, the leg press went nuts, the pullover went nuts. There was also this weird machine, man. It was like a Nautilus plate loaded, cable machine chest press with like the arms of the machine like going straight down, like just one kind of handle. It wasn't even anything elaborate. Very old machine. That thing went for like a couple of $1,000s, and I was so shocked to see who the hell would buy that. Like, you can do a bench press. You know, that's something that you can replicate so easily, a push like that. Whereas this is very hard to replicate. That is very hard to replicate, the adductors. That is super, super hard. You know, the incline, nobody wanted. I got this for $100, the incline machine. You can see just the foot of it, the seat of it. That was super cheap. $100 I got the whole thing for. So maybe people are thinking, well, if you've got an incline bench, you don't need this anymore, which is fair enough. But then how do you explain the chest press? Weird. That's something I'll never understand, why people go nuts for some of these, you know, like quads, chest. I don't know. Maybe the leg extension, I mean, I would have liked that as well, the chest extension being, I don't know, maybe a lot of people have trouble hitting the quads when they squat. That's me as well. But to spend $2,000 on just that, I don't get it. And that was one of those, like this, it's only doing one thing. It's not a twin. It doesn't do like both ends, like extension and curls. So I don't know, man. You know, I don't know. Maybe do another set. Oh. Hopefully there will be maintenance-free machines and not break. They look robust. Yeah, they're very tough, man. You know, I went to see them before the auction. I popped into the gym, like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes I was there for. And I had a look at them, and the whole inventory was just really well taken care of. Like, the upholstery had been redone. It all looked like in good nick. And so I didn't go through every single machine. Like, it would take hours. But I got the vibe very quickly that this was a very well-kept gym. I had been to this gym in the past, maybe like, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago or something like that. I spent some time over there. And it was like a, you know, family-owned gym. There's only one of them. And so everything was like really well taken care of. And these machines are like 30 years old. The guy that was working there, the manager, the guy that's the only one left in the gym, he's kind of organizing all of this stuff. He said that the owner spent $300,000 back in the day to buy the whole gym, like all of the equipment. And this was 30 years ago, 35 years ago. So it just goes to show, man, that was a lot of money back in the day, man. Like, this is 1990, you know, to spend $300,000 back then, that's a lot of money. And it's all like Nautilus machines, you know. So, and so when I hear that, you know, two things can happen. Or they're all beat down, nothing works, or they're all in excellent nick because they were built well and maintained well. And turns out that they were very, very well taken care of. And yeah, I certainly hope it doesn't break down. But you know, it's a different mileage when you take this stuff home, right? Like, it's just me. For the most part, it's just going to be me. So the machines are going to rest. Fine, it's like a nursing home for them, really, if you think about it. They just have very, very, you know, decreased output of work. And so these cables and whatever, a lot of them have been replaced, according to the fella that I saw there. But you know, weights. That can't go freaking wrong. Weights, just weights. You know, the only thing that can go maybe is the cables, the pulleys, yeah. But some of that stuff, like I presume it's not gonna be a problem to replace. And I did ask like who they use, and he said there was a number of these machines that you can call, and people come out and sort you out and stuff. So But yeah, I'm very happy, man. So 28 turns out to be quite a lot of weight for me. All right, that's 4 sets. I'll just give the legs a rest there. Well, that's a lot. 28 is a lot. And okay, something that usually breaks on machines is, in our gym, is cable snapping. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Like, I've seen the videos online when the cables snap. But it's also how you use it, right? Like, I don't know, I've seen people, bounce the weight, so instead of like on the row machine stopping, they just, they do one of these things where they, Jesus. The one phone, this extra phone that I've got is the one without the, is it snapped? No, it's all good. It's the one without a cover. Yeah, so it's how you use it, and obviously now that this stuff is mine, I'll take care of it. And everyone that comes in here that trains it, like my mate, my dad, or whatever, whoever comes over, family, they're probably gonna. This is the thing. Most people are gonna want to train with this stuff. I think this is one of the biggest attractions to, your average gym goer, is that they always gravitate towards machines. And I must admit that it is fun to use machines over something like a barbell, where it feels heavy and awkward, and you got to balance, and there's a lot going on with barbells. But you get into a machine like this, and you feel like you're isolating. It feels nice. It feels easy. And so it's probably going to get a lot more attraction than anything else that I have, barbells and whatnot. And the other thing that I thought about as well, moving forward, is my kids are going to grow up. And so this is not just an investment for me. If the kids grow up in a place like this where they've got heaps of gym equipment and all these machines and stuff, like, the chances are they'll use it, and that is, for me, an amazing investment. Have my kids play sport, have access to some of this stuff, anything to get them out of the house. My eldest is big into basketball right now. He's turning 9 soon. He comes out here almost every day and does this machine. He can't do the other one because the legs are not long enough. But he can do this machine. And so, as he grows older, obviously 10, 12, 13, 14 years old, he's going to feel out, and he's going to be able to do some of these machines. And I think that's well worth it, man. If I can get a few things a bit more and reorganize the place somehow and fit a couple more machines, I'd be happy with that. Yeah, but obviously it needs to be, a good deal. So I'm not going to be forking out $7,000 for a machine. I don't have that kind of budget. The soreness I get from those machines is bananas, though I don't train them crazy often. Yeah, Sam. The adductor machine, brutal. I've not been on that machine now for 2-3 days because it's sore, and I went really light. So it's the whole stretching. Any exercise where you are stretching the muscle and then contracting it at the end range produces the most amount of soreness in my experience. It's interesting though, training something kind of laterally very different to the major training movements. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I think a lot of us would benefit from abduction work, whether it's the shoulders, whether it's the hips. Abduction is a very undertrained movement pattern, and when you do train it, you really feel it right away how good you feel. It's like almost instant that you just feel stacked, you feel lubricated, everything feels nice when you turn on some of these minor players. It really does feel amazing. All right. And the good thing about a bit of exercise when you're sick is that all of the sinuses start to release. All the shit that's giving me a headache last couple of days is now draining, you know. And so this is why exercise is so important, or just movement in general is just so important when you're feeling under the weather, man. You gotta get moving. The lymph will start to drain, the sinuses start to kind of drain. It feels good. Henok says, is there any machines you're interested in getting? Henok, I think the next thing that I would really, really love is a leg press. And I am somebody that has completely shifted my opinion on leg press. Man, leg press used to be, in my mind, and you know, you hear all the old timers say the same thing. Why the hell would you leg press when you can squat? You know, why would you do that? And you know, when I first started going, you know, training and stuff, and started listening to some of these big names like, you know, Tom Platz and people of this type of caliber, especially when it comes to squats, you kind of accept that. Never do leg press. Why would you? After, 13 years of training now, I've come to the realization that machines like the leg press are absolutely necessary, especially for a lifter like me. When I lift, especially when I squat, I'm very posterior dominant. And so my legs, they don't get a lot of attention. And so leg pressing feels excellent to me and necessary. If you have no trouble, if you're a natural squatter and you squat straight up and down, absolutely, you don't need to leg press. Somebody like that probably will benefit from some sort of back machine. Typically, the people that can squat really, really well have trouble bending over, deadlifting, hip hinging, right? It's kind of like roughly saying that's kind of the experience. If you're somebody that can say squat 200 and deadlift 200, you are a squatter, my friend. You are a squatter. There's no way you should be squatting the same as you're freaking deadlifting. So that means your squat is way, 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 way up there in comparison to your overall deadlift strength. So people like me, leg press is amazing. I've tried it a few times. Last time being in December, November. Incredible carryover to the deadlift. Incredible sensation of pushing. Something that I don't necessarily feel when I train. Especially when I deadlift, it's all 100% pull. When I squat, it still feels like a pull, which is the bar on my back. Very much butt goes back and, you know, that whole movement pattern. So it's all back, back, back for me. So when I did a bit of leg press and I can't get away from this feeling of pushing, like the whole freaking thing is a push. You can't pull a leg press. You know, and I didn't go crazy weight. I know people go nuts with leg press, but just a little bit of that helped me probably nervously or neuromuscularly be like, oh shit, that's how it feels to push. And obviously the second thing was I grew some pushing muscles, quads, adductors, glutes probably, all working together to push. And so I had a lot of benefits from that. And if my kids grow up who are like me, and probably their mother, who's also very long-legged, she's very, very long-legged, they're not going to be the best natural squatters either. And so having something like that in the house where we can just train that pushing component is going to be of great benefit. So I think a leg press, even though it's a behemoth of a machine to take up, you know, valuable space at home, I think it will be an excellent thing. You might say to yourself, but you've got a belt squat machine. The belt squat machine, I gave it a good go, and it's very much a push. But what I found is that it still made me go into the similar positions that a squat would. So I'm still kind of leaning over and Still, my body's shooting back, and it still feels very like my natural squat, except there's weights on my hips. Whereas the leg press, I have nowhere to run. Like I'm literally stuck where the machine wants me to do, and that is cool. Sam says, hey, yeah, what other equipment would you get considering limited space? Yeah, Sam, just like I said now. For me, if I could, I'm a fan of the hack squat. Oh yeah, that's another one. But if you already have a squat bar set up, maybe be a poor choice if space is limited. Tom Platt's hack squats. Yeah, man, the hack squat is great. That's another, like if I had unlimited budget, I would have both of them, absolutely. Hack squat and leg press, it's amazing. Oh, and that's another thing in the auction for this, closing down auction for this gym. The hack squat, leg press, like hotcakes, man. Hotcakes. Very popular into thousands, you know. So another very, very popular machine. Very hard to get. I think you can drive through sticking points on them and it just feels good. Yeah, absolutely. Sam, Ivan, what is that machine in front of you there? It sort of looks like a leg press seat. Oh, this thing here. So that is a incline bench. I'll show it to you a little later on when I get out of here. Actually, here, I'll do it now before my fifth set here. This thing here. So this was $100 in the auction, man. I decided to pick it up to have a dedicated incline station. I know it's not the best use of space, but for $100, dude, like I couldn't let it go, man. Like $100 for a whole thing. And now it's very much part of my routine. I always hated moving my incline bench in and out of the squat rack and moving furniture around. I'm that sort of fella. Like if you know, the setup needs to be easy, man. Like I don't want a hard setup, too much shit moving around, tight spaces. It's frustrating. So having a dedicated incline, I can just sit on there, put plates on, and move. I think that is a huge portion of all of this. It's just the ease of setup. That's one of the reasons I got the deadlift jack as well. You know, not having a wooden floor, not having a deadlift platform, and the floor being very uneven. It is a freaking nightmare sliding plates on and off, especially if they're bumpers. It's a nightmare. So now I've got a deadlift jack, easy. Makes life easy and less frustrating. Less frustrating. You don't want to be frustrated at home training, man. All right, let me get another set here. Jeez Louise. Yeah, Hammer Time said it perfectly. Incline bench. Oh, the belt squat. I forgot you had that. I've never tried that. Would love to. Oh, it's an incline bench. Got it. There you go. Already has one. I'm built similar to you with long legs, and something I enjoy doing other than leg press is the Smith machine. Smith squat. What do you think of that? The Smith machine is something that I might be wrong about this, like I was wrong about the leg press for a bunch of years there. I just stayed away from that thing. I would walk circles around it to avoid even touching it. I just, my initial exposure to lifting was the barbell is everything you need. So it took me many, many years to kind of warm up to anything other than the barbell. And the Smith machine was like the antithesis of that. You could probably do good work with it. Especially if you move your feet forward and then you have that deep squat. It could work. My only concern with something like that is that it's very similar to the real deal. And would that play with your bracing when you go back to the normal bar? Would that really play with your mind, how you're supposed to move? I don't know. It never appealed to me. I just thought it was like, it's very close to what I'm doing with the normal barbell. I don't want to play with that. I want to have the same bracing and positioning and all of the rest. Same with bench press. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't had a lot of experience, but those are kind of the first ideas that come to my mind about it. Why would you? Like, why would you not use something else instead? But if you're comparing that with the leg press, I guess you could do a leg press type of variation on the Smith, where you've got the bar on your back and you're kind of manipulating your angles to get the similar type of push and completely remove the pull aspect of a squat. You might be onto something. I don't know. Smith machine would be cool. It's a big space taker, but multiple uses. Interesting one. Yeah, that's another big one. Very big. Reverse hyper. I've never done it, man. I've never done the reverse hyper. I kind of, was in two minds whether to get the GHD or the reverse hyper. I never tried the reverse hyper, but multiple gyms here had the GHD, so I tried the GHD, thought it was great, I bought one, and that was it. So I'd love to try one. Sam, these two machines are very much, if I'm not sick and I'm not like blocked up like this, very much part of it. So the plan was, the first couple of days when I was kind of experimenting with it, actually I made the plan day one. This is an amazing warm-up to squatting. Absolutely amazing. Turns the hips on, feels good. It doesn't limit your actual squatting, but turns everything on. The leg adductor machine very much will screw you over if you do that before squatting. It just weakens the adductors, it tires them out, and you feel terrible. And so warm up with this, do the squat, and then come back and finish off with that. And these machines are very much light. They're not primary things that I'm doing. They're just like warm up and cool down type things. This is an amazing way to finish because it stretches you out, completely opens you back up, and restores some of that, the tightness that you've accumulated throughout the training session. It all gets released with that. So that's kind of how I've got it set up right now. So every day this, and I've been skipping a few days because I've been sick and I've been feeling right, but every day this, no matter what, this is just feels freaking amazing. And sets of 20. I've done 5 already. I'll do a couple more, and then 1, 2, 3 sets of that. Just stretch out and then walk away. Yeah, man. Anthony, brother, how are you, dude? Hey, Ivan, good to see you. As I said the other day, I hit the abductor machine in the gym. Hit it again the next day. I'm so sore in the thigh now. Death caused by weighted stretch. Absolutely, Anthony, spot on, man. Oh, fuck. You're not going to get much soreness from this machine because you're working with like short ranges and you can't really stretch unless the machine somehow sent you to crisscross your legs somehow and really stretch that lateral hip capsule. But this guy, fucking hell, man, that guy is super sore. Interestingly enough, fun fact, man, fun fact. I'm saying it like it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. The adductor injury that I suffered from doing all those low bar squats, right kind of like anterior groin, right there, is the same soreness that I felt after doing this day one. So it's exactly the same muscle, the very specific strand that I injured with the low bar squats, wide stance, exactly what this thing is doing. So you put those two things together and straight away you're like, holy shit. If I had this earlier, maybe my whole couple of 3-4 months of freaking screwing around with all sorts of different shit could have been sorted if I just had this machine. So in one way, you could probably conclude, well, Ivan, if you could do this whole stack for this machine for sets of 20, maybe your wide stance squats will be better as well, because at least the adductor portion of that movement will be taken care of and you'll just be, swinging that shit around like it's nothing. That's a pretty good conclusion, in my opinion. So this is where these isolation movements really shine. That you take something like a wide stance squat, right? Many moving parts, many muscles involved. But if you can start to break down some of that, that whole concept of a wide stance squat, and you go, okay, let's break all these muscles up, and then let's train each of these in an isolation, especially if you can work out which one is really the rate limiting step, which one is really holding you back in this whole thing. Think about it like when you're in high school, some of you boys might be at uni still, you've got a 5,000 word assignment to write. It is very, very intimidating to think about writing 5,000 words assignment, right? But if you start breaking that shit down and you go, okay, let's not worry about the introduction and the conclusion. Let's just worry about the body. What am I really discussing here? What are the points, the main points of discussion that I really want to talk about? So if I was writing a piece, I never have, but if I was to write a 5,000 word essay, paper on the squat, what would some of the headings be? Well, obviously you would break down some of these conversations into technique, low bar, high bar, front squat, right? All of those variations. You can talk about each of them, a paragraph each. You could talk about lower back, you could talk about glutes, adductors. You could literally break down the whole assignment into all these different aspects and talk about when these muscles are most engaged, when are they working, and how to identify each of those muscles displaying their struggling weaknesses in the movement pattern of the squat. What would you see if the glutes were really had a difficult time firing? All of a sudden now you've got 10, maybe even 15 freaking paragraphs you want to discuss. All of a sudden you're like, shit, 5,000 words might not even be enough for me to cover all this shit. I might need a freaking 10,000 word thesis to write on this. You could probably write a lot more than that. I mean, I definitely could write fucking endless words on this shit. I could write a big ass report on the squat, that's for sure. So many thoughts just rushing through my mind right now. And so then let's say you've got damn near 200-300 words each block or each question, each topic. You got 10 of those, man, that's 3,000 freaking words already. And then you just write an introduction where you are talking about what you've already talked about in the body. Introduction, and then a conclusion, summarize some of the thoughts. And voila, there's your 5,000 word assignment. And so in the same way, you could take the squat and go, okay, let's break all this crap down. In the wide stance squat, low bar, there is a large component of the adductors. Okay, is that one of the weaknesses? Well, fuck, who knows? Maybe you don't know, right? Maybe it's something else. Who knows? Jump on the adductor machine and see what you can do. If you're really struggling with it, logic would only serve correct if you thought, well, if I max the shit out of this machine, the adductor machine, and I go nuts and I'm doing the full stack for multiple sets of 20, and I've gone from hardly doing half a stack for a set of 20 to now full stack, you've now strengthened something. You might not be 100% carryover, but you've got a set of stronger adductors. And now when you take that back into the full movement of a wide stance squat, it only makes sense that at least the adductors are not going to be holding you back. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's your lower back. Who knows? You can address that next in your hunt to improve things. This is something that I, for many years, didn't appreciate fully. The art of reverse engineering something and breaking something down into a freaking engineering problem and going, okay, what are the components, the major components? Obviously, you're not going to be talking about your damn forearms in a squat, right? So be reasonable with it. Break everything down, you know, as an intelligent way as possible, and then go, okay, the really big movers when it comes to all of this stuff. Let's say the quads, obviously it's a bloody squat, that's going to be involved. The glutes, the adductors, the lower back, the core. Let's say they even throw the upper back. And then in each of these components, you go, okay, so which exercise would I say, in my experience, would be the best movement, isolation movement to target some of these structures? And you go off to do your side missions, like if you're talking about a freaking video game. And the side missions are these isolation exercises for each of these movements, each of these muscle groups. And then you come back, let's say after a little while, and you've now improved in each of these isolation exercises. You might not be able to display it right away, but now you have at least the resources, the tools, the potential tools underneath you that you can employ in, let's say, a peaking phase or strength phase when you get back into proper squatting. And so this is something that it took me a long time to kind of appreciate fully, but this is where these machines come in. And obviously, for many, many years, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the luck with this auction to get some of these machines. But for many years, I appreciated these, and I even did them in the gym, and I made videos about them. And I've tried doing all sorts of stuff at home, trying to like mimic it, band this way, band that way, all sorts of different stuff, and never really, you know, it was a hard setup and hard to progress. Like, how do you progress bands, you know? Such a limited range of motion. And then, but this is like, this is the progression, that is the progression. Off you go, and you can just go nuts with this shit. And in my mind, all of this makes sense. Same with the bench press. Okay, do you reckon your chest are holding you back, your pecs? You might not know the answer, but okay, let's do the pec fly. Let's do the flies. Let's do really, really wide bench press variation. Do you suck on that? For me, for years I sucked. Now I'm a lot better. Now it's like my primary movement. So you could probably say, shit, Iman's pecs are pretty good. Now my new rate limiting step might be my triceps, my shoulders, my upper back. Run around the bush, you know, hunt some of those other side missions, and then you come back and you might have a crazy 20 kilo increase on your bench, on your squat and whatever. And for many years, I've kind of been fully aware that there is something in my squat pattern that is really holding me back. It's really holding me back. My freaking deadlift is 285, right? 285, very strong in that. How the hell is my squat stuck at 215? Something is amiss. One day I'm going to find it. And when I find it, I expect a huge jump in performance. Might be this, might be that, who knows? All I know is that I'm pretty terrible at these movements. Interestingly enough, my hips have been feeling freaking amazing since doing this. So hip pain's flying out. So there you go. Who knows? Oh man, I'm snorting it up here like crazy. Let me do another sit here, eh? Oh. Oh, fuck, that is ecstasy. Feels so bloody good to do it. All right, where am I up to? Something I do when I do abductor machines is lean forward to stretch the post chain. Oh, interesting. I haven't tried that. Sam, how's your diet been lately? Oh, last few days, I've hardly eaten, Sam. Very, very bad last few days. Not good at all. Calcium sulfate says hello. Hey, what's up, Calcium? How you going, brother? Anthony says, it's funny, I would never have thought to use it if you hadn't bought these machines. In fact, the ab machines looks kind of unloved in the corner of the gym. You're making it great again. Yeah, look, there's a lot of that, you know. These very unpopular machines end up being in the corner. I remember, shit, man, like 5 years ago, probably 5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe something like that. The first time I went to the gym after a long, long stretch of not going to the gym, the biggest motivator for me to go to the gym was the GHD. I wanted to find the GHD and I found one. And this freaking gym, dude, like the GHD was like past the locker rooms, around the corner, literally not even in a workout space. It was just left. I don't even know if people knew what the hell it was, right? It was just like relegated to like the basement, basically. So here I am, you know, like with my mate, we rock up, we find the machine, we gotta get on it, and I'm like busting like 10 sets of 20 and like going crazy. People are walking past and like sliding by and so awkward. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like in the corridor doing this shit with this machine. Weirdo, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is the most fucking important machine in this whole fucking gym. All of you guys walking past should be doing sets on this. But people don't know. Like, you know, people don't know. People don't care about core for the most part. And let's face it, a lot of people go to the gym, you know, to work the show muscles, you know. No one really cares about some of the things that I care about. Like, you know, how's my body going to cope with 300 kilos on my back? Most people are like, whatever, dude. No one's interested, you know. But, you know, the GHD, I love it. Absolutely freaking love it. It's a glorious machine. And I've done hundreds of sets. Even though I'm a posterior chain guy, I still love to do it. But yeah, no matter what happens, that machine's always going to be part of my gym. You know, if anyone ever has a back issue in my household or whoever, that's your physio. Don't worry about the physio. Don't worry about the chiro. That right there. You don't even have to do freaking sets on it. Just get in it and hang. Hang by your legs. Let it just decompress you. It's godly. Like, it's absolutely amazing. It's funny, but I would never have thought to use it if you had. Yep, got that. Calcium. Can't you just go to a physical therapist or someone else who knows and ask them to find your weakness? By the way, you're going to infect us with the cold. Sorry, Calcium. Hopefully the Wi-Fi doesn't get you that freaking sickness. Sorry, I'm really starting it up. I apologize, fellas. I kind of feel awkward. I mean, I didn't go to work today either. I had a shift. Like, I can't go to work like this. Like, sitting there, you know, walking around sick people with cancer and putting up not putting up chemotherapy, but like people with chemotherapy, I'm there like stoning it up. And oftentimes, like, you put a mask on, so, you know, you don't get people infected. And then that humidity that the mask creates makes the freaking sinuses go nuts. So, you know, you're fucking sniffling like a maniac. You're blowing your nose. I can't go to work like that. And I would definitely feel guilty looking after sick people being sick. You can't do that. You can't go to work sick. Not in healthcare. You're there to help people, not screw them over more. Physical therapist or someone else who knows. Calcium, it's like this, man. Like, if I had somebody in my corner, somebody that I knew, somebody that was accessible, somebody, you know, that I trust, sure, I can talk to people. You know, I work with physiotherapists. Some people that work in ED. I don't think they know about lifting and performance. Physiotherapy for the elderly population, let's say, getting people out of bed, you know, assessing their gait and assessing what they need, what sort of equipment they need. Do they need a walking stick, a frame? Do they need a toilet rail and stuff like that at home? Assessing their mobility. That's a completely different thing than training somebody to go to the Olympics or to a powerlifting meet or going to a sprinting event. That's a very specific thing. So those people are hard to find, right? Like, it's you know, if I had access to people like that, I would. But then obviously a lot of these people that are really good, you're talking lots of money to see them, right? And you know, this is a hobby for me. This is a journey, a side hustle for me. This is a side mission rather for me. You know, this is never going to be, you know, I'm not going to be investing money into this. That's how I see it anyway. And for me, the joy that I get out of searching for answers it's really cool for me. It's really, really cool. Having said that, I would love to talk to somebody that really knows their shit and pick their brains and whatever, but I don't want to just fork out thousands of dollars for that information. Sam, I'm going to try the squat warm-up tip you mentioned, making sure to use the right machine. Yeah, dude, this thing, do this before squats. I promise you, it will feel like butter. You can try the other one as well, but in my opinion, when I did that, the squat felt terrible, especially at the bottom of the squat. The adductors were fried, and the adductors are very much used at the bottom of the squat. Finish your session with that. Don't start it. All right, let me do another set. Oh my God, no, it's really opening up. See, all of this shit that's the sinuses releasing. And I reckon a bit of movement, a bit of exercise is doing this to me. I think that's 7 sets. And this is so easy to do. Like, it's such a low cost. You can do this even when sick like this. Oh, man. Sam, it's interesting when everyone is interested in show, then someone unassuming walks in and outlifts everyone. Very humble, quiet, talks to a few select people and walks out. I love that. That's the whole sleeper thing, sleeper build. Do you still enjoy work? I do, yeah. Not every day, obviously. But I'm happy I'm nursing. It's a good career. You meet lots of people. You're surrounded by the right type of people, in my opinion. If I worked in a financial institution or in the financial world, I think I'd go crazy. Because I'm imagining people over there, all they talk about is profit and money and businesses. And that to me is, I don't give a shit, dude. Let's talk about something more serious like health. Health is the most... A healthy person is the richest person. Simple as that. And so being in health, talking to people that are sick in bed, some of them are dying, you tend to discuss some really important stuff, and there's some really wholesome interactions with people, and that's really cool. That's really cool. Calcium says you should rinse your nose with hypertonic saline. It's a real lifesaver. Oh, there you go. There you go. I've never done that. Sam says, say if you won $10 million, would you leave work? $10 million. I don't think I'll ever leave nursing, to be honest with you. I think even if I was a very, very rich man, I'll probably still do like 1 day a week. Or maybe even 2 days a week. The only reason I would say 2 days a week is because you don't want to lose your skills and your knowledge. Emergencies is a type of work where if you spend a lot of time away from it, you will lose the skills, like reading ECGs, reading ABGs, working in a very high stressful environment, that skill can be lost as well. Communicating with people in stressful situations, that's also a skill. And I think in a way it keeps you young. It's a young person's game. Unfit people tend to struggle in these environments, and so there's like a prerequisite that you need to be somewhat fit to work in areas like that, and so that attracts me. Straight away, that attracts me. High pressure situations attract me. High pressure thinking attracts me. Helping people in critical situations attracts me. So all those things, and 1 or 2 days a week would be perfect. But obviously, if I won $10 million, I'd probably buy a whole stack of machines and I'll probably open up a gym. That to me would be my life goal. I would really, really love to do that. And I would spend a lot of time at the gym. I would spend a lot of time talking to people at the gym, exactly like this, except some of you blokes will be with me in the gym. And I've had dreams of like making a gym free entry. I don't know how that works. I know Mark Smelly Bell had a gym where you train in there for free. And he, like, as part of you being a member, when he needs you to help move some stuff around or whatever, or I don't know what the intricacies are, you help him out eventually or something. I'd love that. Like, if I was a really, really rich person, maybe I could buy the equipment, like, I don't know how much I don't even know how much money you would need to buy all this stuff, like a proper gym. Like, I mean, this place that I bought this stuff from in 1990, they bought it everything, all of the equipment for $300,000 back then, and it was a massive gym. So maybe $300,000 today, some 35 years later, for a smaller gym would be ideal, and and just buy the equipment that I believe in, and spend a lot of time in there. I think that would be really, really cool. I would be, that's like a life goal. And not in the sense of like, I want to make money and become like a big chain or whatever. That's never going to drive me, man. Like, this is my hobby. This is my true passion. And I'd love to be in and around that, constantly. That's like my life-term goal. I don't know if it's most likely never going to happen. I'm never going to earn that much money in my life. But everyone says, what's your dream goal? Like, that is it. And for many, many years, I didn't know what it was. But as I started kind of growing and finding my feet more and more in this space, it's really, really cool. And just to tell you the story about the guy that sold this gym business, the place where I bought this. So he's like 85, 86-year-old man right now, retiring. He's finished. He's too old. He wants to just chill out last few years of his life or whatever, last part of his life. But he bought that space, that area, and that building, and bought the gym equipment back in 1990. He was 50 odd years old. So he was like 50 years old. So this is a 50-year-old man finally, making something, probably his dream, come true when he was 50. And he carried it all the way through for 35 years. Now he's 85, 86 years old, and now he's selling up and blah, blah, blah. And this is when I came in and bought some of the stuff. So maybe when I'm 50, I don't know, probably life is going to be 10 times more expensive, and it's even going to be more out of reach, but who knows? Obviously, right now would be excellent, but even if it's in like my 50s, maybe I'll make it happen someday. I don't know. I doubt it, but that's what I'd love to do with my time, All right, let me crack another set. I'm going to try. It's one of those things, regardless of money, singers will still sing, performers will still perform, artists will still produce art, but that's not true of other professions. Yeah, Sam, I like that, You know what they say, if you love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. And that really is how I feel about this, People like, how much money do you make out of YouTube, blah, 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 blah. My friend, it is less than minimum wage. It is like a half of minimum wage, this stuff. Like, when I tell people how many hours I put in a week, they're like, oh my God. And they kind of go, oh, all right. They would never want to do it. If I put this many hours into my nursing, like extra hours into nursing, dude, I would be double my salary. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even close, dude. But this makes me happy. You see what I mean? This makes me happy. And so I do it. It's not just about the money signs, right? It's about your happiness, your purpose, what you enjoy, what fulfills you. And this is what it is. And so, like you said about singers would still sing, even if they were 10, 100 million, in the pocket, whatever. they would still do that. And I'm like, literally, I'm telling you, I'll do this for the rest of my life. I found my spot in life. You know, whether the views go to zero, you know, nobody gives a shit anymore. You know, I never say to you guys, subscribe, comment, share. You know, I'm not asking you to do anything. If you want to chill out with me, you enjoy this content, you enjoy the conversation, enjoy the thoughts, obviously you're more than welcome to stay. But like, I don't force anybody anything. Like, it's just, I'll rock up regardless. You know, I'm just sharing my passion, and I'd love if you felt the same way and you chill out with me. That is like dream come true, to find like-minded people. But to push this like business agenda on people and be like, oh, Ivan, fuck, you know, blah, 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 blah. Nah, that ain't me. That is not what I get out of this. What I get out of this is different, completely different. And so throughout the whole journey, I made sure, absolutely 100% sure, that this never felt like work. I don't want to work. I don't want to make this work. This is happiness. This is, you know, this is my happy place. If I start working this, doing things that don't make me happy, I'll ruin it. And now I've ruined this, like, where do I go from there? You know, nursing is never going to be that calling for me. This is. I love this. And so I do it. Regardless of how poorly it pays, I still do it. Oh, Greg, what's going on, player? How are you, man? Yeah, Ivan, caught another live. Been meaning to ask you, what's a day of your job like in terms of what you do, and what's your work schedule like? Oh, so I do, let's say, 4.5 days a week. I do 0.84, right? So 3 day shifts, 1 night shift. The night shift is like 11 hours or whatever. So the reason why I say it's 4.5 days is because the night shift is a bit of one day, like 3 hours on one day, and it spills over 7.5 hours on another day. Just like what, 10, 11, it's about 11 hours or something like that. So I'll do 0.84. Every week I do one night. And that schedule has changed many times over, over the course of the years. I used to do 12 hours shifts. I got away from them probably 2 years ago. But I work in emergency, right? So lots of different roles within ED. I'm a senior nurse in ED over there. So I do all of the roles. I'm a clinical nurse, so I'm like level 2. And so when I go to work, I'm usually the shift coordinator at work, or a triage, or I work in one of the resource roles, or sometimes, occasionally, I'm in the office doing some, you know, clinical nurse stuff like quality improvement or something like that. So I've been at one place now for basically the length of my career, which is 15 years. Yes, depends. Every day is different. Every day is different depending on which role I get. And we try to rotate people through different roles so there's no burnout. And burnout can be quite high in emergency. So if I'm working at triage, I'm meeting people as they come from, with the ambulance or when they walk in. And I assess them, and then I allocate them a triage number, score, 1 to 5. And then I make a decision where they need to go, how quickly they need to go there, and so on and so on. Shift coordinator, you are just working flow, trying to get people up to the wards as soon as possible, putting out fires, dealing with code blues and code blacks and whatever, managing staff for the following shift, managing sick leave, all that kind of stuff. When you're in a resource role, you're obviously just working in resource, working with the sickest of the sickest. And then, there's multiple other positions as well that sometimes I work depending on how many seniors are available. But that's kind of like the role that I have. I'm a senior nurse in ED, and so some of you guys also work, I think some of you guys work in medical field, and some of you guys work in ICU, I know, as nurses as well. So you guys would have a slightly different perspective into the job. I thought about this. I'm an engineer. If I got money, I think I would do some days per week at least for some time. Yeah. I see, this is the thing. Like, whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever, you still need to do something with your time. Like, you can't just. What are you gonna do, man? You need to do something. All right, let's do number 8. The only bad thing about this is that you're squeezing your junk every time. Do you see a lot of knife crime victims? The UK seems to be getting a bad direction in the area, at least according to the media. No, we don't see a lot of that here. Um, my hospital doesn't see the brunt of those traumas. We're not in the city, like directly in, this in the CBD. There's another hospital that's like right in the city, and they see a lot of that violence, like crime, nighttime crime. And they are the number one trauma center in all of the states. So like all of this stuff goes to them and maybe a few other hospitals, but we don't see that. We still see trauma. You know, I've seen shootings and things, but you know, we're not the frontline hospital for that. But no, we don't see a lot of that. Sam says, that's also my kind of thing. Open up a gym, include emphasis on recovery, an area for people to mingle would be great. Yeah, man. Oh, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I wouldn't even make it obvious I was the owner. I'd just be involved. That's really interesting. I bet even though he started at 50, he probably feels most proud of what he did at 50 over and what he did. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I don't really know the intricacies of, you know, what led to all of that. You know, maybe he got some inheritance money and he used that. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he saved up for many, many years and he pulled the trigger and changed careers completely. I don't know. But it's interesting that people, you know, start these careers at 50. Finally, after 50 years of living, you're kind of taking the life, a direction in life that you really want to take it in. Cool. Still, you're at 118k subs, obviously creating value. That's actually very impressive. Not that it's about that, but it's a measure of interest, I suppose. Still some money to give to the family, though, right? That's a nice touch. Yeah, you know, over the years, I think a lot of people have resonated with my message, I suppose. You know, I understand the way I make videos and the way I am is very, very different to a lot of people. A lot of people really, you know, try to fit a certain persona and they try to sell sexiness and they try to sell programs and you know, all that kind of stuff. My approach has always been, I'm real, I'm a real guy. I've got 3 kids and a wife, normal life. There's no fanciness. A lot of people wouldn't even upload this stuff. Like it looks, you know, it doesn't look shiny and exciting. You know, there's a clothesline over there. There's a clothesline up there, right? You know, I'm just a guy not living a fancy life. There's no Lambos, there's no Ferraris, there's no chicks walking around in bikinis, nothing like that. I'm just a regular dude, right? But I do have a passion for this. And everything I find, I tell you. I don't keep anything away from you. Every time I hit a PR, I go on Patreon and I make a long-ass freaking hour-and-a-half video breaking down all of my thoughts. And yeah, I basically share my journey to the utmost honesty that I have. I'm not trying to compete, so I'm not trying to hide anything, any cards away from you. I don't want to beat you. I just want to enjoy the journey. And that's always been my approach. Whereas maybe a lot of other people are trying to beat you. They're trying to get better than you. And so they don't want to tell you all the stuff they find as they go along in their journey. My direction has been different. Look, man, like, I'm not interested in competing. I'm not interested in taking drugs and going to the highest ends of these competitions. So I've got nothing to keep away from you. And so that's always been my thing. And maybe a lot of people feel the same way as me. Like they're not the genetic freak. They do have lots of plateaus. They do have lots of pains and strains and whatever. And that's kind of what I am honest about. And I think most people have a similar experience to me and not some of these crazy figures that we see, you know, online who are flying high, everything's going great, they're setting PRs every other day and all that sort of stuff. Most of us don't have that experience. And so I kind of speak to the normal experience in all of this. And maybe that's why I have 100,000+ subscribers, because a lot of people resonate with me, perhaps. I'm not sure. Greg, mad respect, Ivan. I gotta say, it's like your Bruce Banner by day and the Incredible Hulk by night. Thanks, man. I'm a scientist, so I know the grind of mental stimulation followed by physical stimulation. There you go. You gotta have both, man. You gotta have both. That balance. Name DM says, anyone get foot pain while squatting or after a long day of work? No, never have foot pain, man. Foot pain. Bottom of the foot. Interesting. Like plantar fasciitis type stuff or what? I also started my first session of 230 deadlift for a new attempt, 10 rep max. Got 8 in one set and had to rest for 60 seconds before I get the last 2 reps. Nice, man. 230 for 10 reps. That's impressive, dude. So right now I'm doing 220 for 5, and that is freaking heavy. No way could I get what you're getting, which tells me you probably can deadlift 285 if you peaked, and probably even more. You're doing all of the rep PRs that you're doing are better than mine. So I don't know how you'd not be able to lift, the same weight as me or more, probably more, right? Oh, goodness. Strong as fuck. Yeah, absolutely, Name. Same. Davey says, I don't know. I think you are quite interested to Sam Sulek. The difference is, of course, he's competing and on whatever he's on. But the way Sam Sulek comes across is quite chilled and genuine. I'd say, I actually quite like Sam. I really like Sam. He seems like a really cool dude. I've said that many times. I like him quite a lot. He seems like a nice fella. Very young, very nice. I'm just scared for the guy. Honestly, man, I'm just scared for the guy. Being on the other side of my 20s and, pushing now mid-30s, I know what his thought process is going to be later on in life. And I'm just worried that he's going to regret some of these decisions that he's made. Regardless of the millions that he's earning and millions of fans or whatever, I'm just genuinely worried for the kid. He might be all right, and I certainly hope he's all right. But to be taking that much drugs that early, I just don't know. He's really risking it all. And as a father of 3 young kids, dude, I'll be very, very, very worried, borderline angry, if my kids took the same path as Sam. And so when I come to that realization, I think to myself, well, is Sam then a good role model? And I would have to say, no, he's not. Well, then the very next thought is, why does everyone need to be a role model? And they don't. Absolutely, you're right. But when you are watched by millions of people, with that notoriety, with that fame comes a responsibility, whether you like it or not, man. And that is the biggest thing here. That is the concern. You didn't ask for this fame, I understand, but you've got it. And because you have it, you have a responsibility. And I'm worried that these 16, 15-year-old boys that are watching this stuff and be like, I want to be like big like Sam. I want to have girls like Sam. Let's say, I don't know if he's got girls. I don't really know. I don't watch him at all. Fame is sexy to young people. Everyone wants to be famous. Oh my God, I want to be famous. I want to be famous. Actually, I saw a Jim Carrey post the other day. He was like, I'm going to, butcher this. Let me paraphrase him. Jim Carrey was like, I want everyone to be rich and famous one day. I want everyone to get there so they can see that this is not the answer. I thought that was brilliant. I really thought that was awesome. And so I don't know what Sam is thinking he's going to get out of this. he's definitely got fame and money. And I even said it, like, I think it was last year when he blew up or whatever. I said, stop now. Like, you've got your money, your life is set, just stop and just start taking care of your health. But clearly he's not going to do that. He's going to continue down the path. And I think it's a lot, man. Like, I'm not an expert in some of this stuff, but hearing other experts being worried about what he's using concerns the living shit out of me. And I don't know how many guys we've seen in their 30s die in bodybuilding. These people are literally drug addicts. Whether you're taking heroin or coke or whatever else, or steroids, you're still a drug addict and you're abusing it. And that to me is very unfortunate for such a nice dude. Let me do a set. I think this is going to be the 10th set here. I could literally spend all day here. Oh, shit, doing this. But we have to move on. Let me do a little bit of squatting now. I feel like I've drained 100 liters from my nose. Oh, Lord. Let me pull up a seat here with you fellas. Do you have a silver play button? Yes, the Be Cool guy. I do. I got it at 100,000. They sent it. I've got it in my office next to the computer. Miz, hey, what's up, Miz? What's up, man? Hello, man. How to keep going on hard days to train? Oh, man. I've got a selection of thoughts, usually people from the hospital in hard times. All of my hard times are a joke compared to what other people are going through. And I think about that, I just keep moving. Greg says, when I first started my strength journey, I was so obsessed with only doing 1 rep maxes for so many years, and I stalled hard in everything. But then I started doing 5 rep maxes and 10s, and everything opened up, I imagine. Yeah. Sam says, I agree. Sam seems authentic, but like you, I worry for him too. There you go, Sam. I think we all worry for Sam. Even you, Sam. Bunch of Sams. Dude won't make it till his late 30s. That's the worry that I have. And that is such a loss. Greg says, I kind of scanned over your 2,000 day journey, Ivan, and we both had very similar training arcs in the exact same order, it seems. There you go. Same realizations, eh? But in some respect, he's very much on his own and he likes that. Maybe he's doing exactly what he wants to do, and I respect that. Yeah, I suppose. I just worry he's making the wrong decisions in life, but it's his life, I suppose. He's got the right to it. Scroz says, this year I squatted 115 for 20 beltless after running 3 blocks of super squats, all the while having multiple bouts of flu, 2 kids, wife average working Joe. Nice, man. Is that these things that you achieve, no one can even take them from you. The stoic mind you're building cannot be bought, cannot be stolen. People not into it in that way will never get it. Yeah, I think so. I think that's really, really the true win in all of this, is that all of this training that we're doing and all the hard days and the consistency required to get even a little bit ahead really calluses your mind for real life problems in life. So all of this stuff really carries over to world life situations, world life difficulties. You become more resilient on all fronts. And so in a way, this is kind of like, getting you ready for the real life in a way, isn't it? Now, after doing 10 sets of bloody 20, my hips kind of feel nice. Now, is this gonna be in the way of the microphone? Let's have a look. Oh no, we're good. Oh man, achy bones. You know you're not going to be strong when your freaking bones feel like not strong. Oh fuck. All these little machines feel good until you put a bar on your back and you're like, fuck, I feel terrible. Oh, fuck. The bones tell you you're not going to be strong today. And then you pick up a 20, you're like, holy shit, why is that so heavy? You pick up a 20, you're like, what the fuck? After 10 plus years of training, the 20 feels that heavy in my hand. Jesus, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, man. Such is life, bloody, huh? Such is life, bloody is a saying my best friend's dad said once, and we all kind of copied him since then. Skroz says, it's not about the kg, it's about hardening the tool that is your mind. Absolutely. Skroz, perfectly said, man. Absolutely. People really underestimate how big and strong the body can become completely natural. Freakish levels can be obtained, but must become a lifestyle to do it naturally. Absolutely. You're not going to trip over an elite body and elite performance. You need a very, very decent chunk of your life, your energy, in order for you to get there. And that's why we find it impressive in the first place, because when we see somebody do some crazy stuff, you're like, damn, this has taken a lot of effort. Alrighty. Oh man. Shit is heavy. Sam says, a friend I have came off drugs because it was making him feel depressed. He gave up gym and is now a runner. Very interesting thing to see. There you go. He's much better now. He said it felt like someone turning on a light in his life after he stopped the drugs. Much happier. He's mid-20s. Damn. Well, hopefully he stays off it now. I know that's a very hard thing to achieve. People actually stay off the drugs. They're such a alluring thing. Mask Code, what's up, man? Welcome aboard. How's it going, man? Front squat time. Back pump, here you come. That's right. This year, if you peak. Miz, yeah, I don't know, man. I'll see how I go. Like, I really, right now, what I really want is to get to 30 reps on that bench press with 100 kilos. I'm still kind of, even though the last week or two has kind of been not the greatest training for it. I've had so many interruptions. But I really want to get that. And so once I get that, hopefully 160 on the bench is there. I just want to ride the wave of the bench press. I'll keep chipping away at these accessories for the front squat, back squat. And if it's there, I'll attack it. But usually I feel strongest in the squat during the warmer months. So squats and deadlifts are usually in the warmer months for me for some reason. And when I look back, it's always been like that. In the cold months, I don't tend to feel good doing them. So me being in winter right now, I might as well just bench it up as much as I can. James says, do you think you will get to an age where you start to embrace more body weight movements, yoga, tai chi, calisthenics? I don't know. I think the mother of all physical qualities is strength. So even though some of these other disciplines are great, I think the mother of all attributes is strength. And I'm not the one that came up with that thought. Multiple authors in this field have said the same thing, and it makes sense to me. Even the marathon runner, if he gets stronger, he will run better times, because each of those steps now is a smaller percentage of work compared to his potential 1 rep max. So I will always be strength orientated. Whether I incorporate more mobility and all that kind of stuff, maybe, depends on what I learn down the track, as this is an evolutionary thing. Your mind is never fixed. Maybe I'll get into yoga and tai chi and all the other stuff you mentioned. Maybe I won't, I'm not sure. But I think I will always be very closely related to some sort of strength work. Alrighty, let me hit this 100 for 1. Oh gosh, I'm so dizzy. I sprained my wrist a little last time I front squatted when I went for a new 5 rep max, and I just focused on the back squat. Having an itch to go for a new 10 rep max on front squat now, but I like back a lot. Yeah, I kind of screwed my wrist up back in the day as well, front squatting, leaned over too much, tried to grind it out, wrist copped it. Have to be careful with that, man. Stefan says, pozdrav iz Srbije. In sprisao si me da čučim pre par godina, sad sam skoro podigao 200 kila. O, svaka čast, Stefane, svaka, samo naprijed, brate. Super. And Jumbo Play says, hey Ivan, have you ever given Nordic curls a serious run? Also started doing reverse Nordics recently and really enjoying them. They really open up the vastus medialis and hip flexors. I'd recommend. I did do Nordics for a little while, man, but I always felt like it was, well, I didn't always feel, I concluded after that period that I think Nordic curls are a little bit silly. And the reason why I say that is because what it essentially is, it's a super maximal load done for a negative. Makes no sense to me. In no other genre of training do you ever do that, especially starting out. So it makes no sense to me to do super maximal eccentrics. But in Nordic curls, that's what everyone ends up doing because no one is strong enough to do a proper rep. Even some of these guys that are doing multiple reps, their ass is sticking out and they say the glutes are on, but they're not on because they've got the whole freaking, anterior pelvic tilt going on. It's how much of your glutes are turned on if you've got an anterior pelvic tilt. And, this full deformity of the movement. And so I look at that and I'm like, why are you doing that? Just do a freaking GHD. Do a GHD and mold yourself around the machine so you can get a clean rep in at least, or 5, 10, 15, 20 reps. Nordic curls to me are an elite movement. I think reserved only for elite performers, but it's somehow sold to the masses as a great beginner training exercise. Doesn't make sense to me. And so after I kind of connected those dots, I gave it up. And I don't see why people would do that. Reverse Nordic, same thing. I can't get a single rep in. And it is way too heavy for me, way too serious for me. And so I don't understand what the big attraction is. And people say use bands. Okay, well, why don't you just do a leg curl then on the machine? Why not just do that, or at home, to pick up a dumbbell with your legs and do leg curls that way? I don't understand what the obsession is with just loading up maximal weights. Oh God, I think that's enough. My head's gonna fucking blow off my head, off my shoulders. Oh, goodness. I get to a certain weight with squats and I feel like my blood pressure in my head, when you have a headache, is so much that you're just asking for trouble. Because you can't brace when you've got a headache. It's not a good idea. All right, let's do some adductors for good measure. All right, boys, let's go back to the machines for some super isolation work, eh? Why not? Whoop. Let's not knock the phone off. That would be bad news. All right. Let me get a couple of things here and set up. One there, one there. What am I going to do here? Let's go 32 so we get a good stretch. Oh man. Now, where were we? Ryan, have you ever yep. What's your body weight at the moment? Probably I've lost a few kilos. I'm probably back down to 101 or something like that. I was 103, 104, 105 when feeling good. What's the most you've squatted for 30, Ivan? I reckon since you fancy 30 reppers, for that maybe you can work up to 120 for 30. 220 for one is possible. Not fully sure since I don't do 30s. I've done 100 kilos for like 31, I think. That's my best. That was years ago. Yeah, 100 for 30. I don't feel like exercise strengthens the mind if you find it fun. I find that forcing yourself to do something you hate, which makes you miserable, is what strengthens the mind. Um, Interesting thought. Um, I think mastery of anything takes a strong mind. No journey is going to be dandy. So if you get to mastery level of with anything, you have a stronger mind. Because there's going to be lots of struggle. No one has a beautiful ride up to the top. So if you dedicate yourself for 10, 15, 20 years in the pursuit of mastery at something, that is the tool. It's not just pain and agony and lashing yourself with a belt. That's not going to produce a healthy mind. I would say that that's producing a sick mind if you're seeking discomfort and pain all the time. Pain and discomfort is on the journey to mastery for sure, but just exposing yourself to pain and agony for the sake of pain and agony, then I think that's some sort of pathology, mental pathology. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Great answer, thank you. It was something clicked during the squat. Probably my bones. Mr. Bone is trying to escape. I think it can continue to strengthen your mind even if you like it, but genuinely push yourself. How do you guys deal with chatty people at the gym? It's like socialize, but so much it disrupts my rhythm. What I do is I just start doing a set. Keep talking to them. Yeah. Tell me more about that. You start going into a rep. They stop. Sure, a bit maybe, but pushing is still fun. Nothing compared to being forced to work despite having physical illness. For example, when you can actually need rest. Yeah, I mean, what I'm experiencing right now isn't the most fun I could be having. It sucks more so than anything that I'm not getting after it. I don't like this, but it's still better than on the couch, I suppose. SSL says, evening Ivan, hard work as usual, mate. That's it, man. Hard at work. That's it. All right, 32 kilos. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, Miz, thank you. Appreciate you, Miz. You're always out here supporting me, man. It means a lot, dude. Thank you. Oh. Oh my God. See, and after the first set, I can't even rest it. Oh, fuck. Um, Same, yes. Give money so I can start this gym. Yeah. I use bands on both Nordics and reverse Nordics. I could do proper full reps. I can now do a set of 5 full Nordics. I can do at least 5 reverse Nordics with you on the form aspect though. Nordics, but it can be resolved using really light bands to keep yourself right. Still really tough. For reverse Nordics, I would say a leg extension is incomparable because you're nowhere near same range of motion in the stretch position. Yeah, I see. It's a huge range of motion for sure, without a doubt. Um, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm a little bit undecided about the reverse Nordic, but you can make a leg extension now more range of motion with those pads now you can get, you know, to increase the range of motion. So there's that as well. Scroll says, even the commitment to get to the garage on winter's night, man, when it's 9 p.m. and you just put the kids to bed, training in mid-30s is so different from my early 20s. Oh, for sure. Scrolls, absolutely, dude. When you also fully well know that a lot of your peers, let's say, parents, they're probably having a glass of wine or a beer and you're going into a cold garage to train. It's very abnormal. Especially at night, everyone's had dinner, everyone's warm, cozy, relaxing, and you have to go out. Yeah, it sucks. Anyway, I just remind myself that I've got different goals to most people, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I need to go now, guys. Gym time for me, but I will leave you with a joke. What do you call an Asian Dwayne Johnson? The wok. The wok is cooking. Oh, good on you, Sam. You have a good session, man. Thoughts on Zercher variations? I like Zerchers. I've not had a lot of work with them. Um, but I see a feasible um, approach to take, for sure. You watch MMA? I don't watch MMA, but I know about MMA. You know what I mean? Like I pay attention to the big, matchups and stuff. You know, when Conor and Nurmagomedov, Khabib, when they were fighting, that was probably the peak of my interest. That was an incredible fight. I enjoy it, but not all the time. Like I don't watch it regularly. Like even the people that are not well known, I don't watch that. Yeah, the dude smashed the elbows. That's for sure. Calcium, wine drinking is boring. Yeah, I'd agree with you, man. I much prefer a beer occasionally than a wine. We're only on my lower days as I'm sitting in my chair. I start to get anxiety, like my body knows what's coming since I train to full annihilation per session. Yeah, I remember feeling the same way when I was doing the AMRAP period. Definitely the enjoyment of training suffered majorly when I was in that phase. Knowing that you're going in to die in the session and work extremely hard was very off-putting for a while there. That's why I always kind of tend to go towards the Eastern philosophy of training rather than the Western. The Western philosophy, in broad strokes, is 3 days a week, die yourself, die under the bar. Whereas the Eastern philosophy is like, nah, man, we're going to train very high frequency, lots of volume, but sub-max. I tend to like that approach a little bit better mentally because I don't like the arousal. I don't like getting aggressive when I'm training. I like it calm, nice, measured, you know. And those who have those glasses of wine are lame and cringe. Yeah. Maybe if those people have trained earlier in the day, maybe it's okay then. Do you do anything for ankle mobility in prep for squats? Nah, I don't do anything. I've tried that though and never really got anywhere. I've started to dread lower body sessions, but my upper body, like bench or rows, are still carefree mentally at the moment. But I still push myself to the absolute limit each time because despite my body getting so much anxiety, I want it more than anything physically in this world. Nice. Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward type of feeling, isn't it? You feel amazing after you get through a session like that, but the lead up to it is pretty gnarly. Preparing yourself for it, and that goes with anything in life. Your your visions of what's coming are much worse than what it actually is, which is funny, isn't it? Man, this is so good. Oh man. Oh my god. I feel like my freaking groin's gonna rip. Oh. Imagine just coming into this chat. The gynecology exam. Some days it feels like I sacrifice my sanity for the progress because although I love training, I still put the progress above all else, which is why I rest 2 to 3, even 4 days between sessions. Yeah, if you're gonna have that much rest, man, you're gonna have to go nuts on those sessions. It's just different types of approaches to this stuff, isn't it? There's so many different approaches. That's definitely one, and it's obviously worked for many people, and it's clearly working for you as well. I just feel like you have to match a lot of that. You need to pick what works for you and your personality. A lot of people would not be very happy doing that hard of training all the time and having that anguish in life. It can be a very dark place. So if you're mentally, ready for that kind of stuff and you love doing that for sure, but I imagine a lot of people would quit training altogether rather before doing something like that. Even watching a bodybuilding competition, local, international. Ever watched a bodybuilding competition? No, not in full. I've watched highlights, but not in full like that. George says everything. Really appreciate everything you do. Thank you, George. Thank you for saying that, man. Appreciate it, man. He said, no idea who Van is, and you see a guy with this spread falling asleep. That would be quite confronting for sure. Have you got a rough timeline for when you think a new squat PB may be within reach? Obviously not while unwell, or is it just training foundations for now and taking it from there? Yeah, I think just taking it from there, man. I think right now, while the bench press is flying and I'm feeling so good in the bench press, I need to just keep the momentum going into bench press. So I'll continue to do that. But generally speaking, I don't feel my best in squats or deadlifts during winter. I tend to feel best during summer for those movements. Um, Last year, my deadlift went nuts. I'm kind of slowly kind of hoping that November, December will be very heavy focused deadlift time. So I'll be going nuts for deadlifts. And maybe September, October is going to be squat. That's kind of what I'm roughly thinking. And so July, August is going to be bench, maybe. Depends how it feels. Obviously, it's all of this is up for grabs depending on how everything feels. But the elbows are feeling great, shoulders are feeling great. I reckon I'll get 160 on the bench this year. But first, I need to get some of these rep PRs that I've set my goal on. And once that happens, then I'll start to kind of slowly transition into squats. Last time I hit a squat PR was probably around October last year. And that was a 2.5 kilo PR. And that was also on the back of doing a lot of quad isolation, belt squats, hack squats, leg press. And I did all of that, and then I stayed with leg press, and the leg press kind of bled into deadlifts, and the deadlift started flying as well. So towards the end of last year, I had a lot of success, and I reckon I'll repeat the same stuff. As it starts to warm up in Australia, I'll get after it again. So that's kind of the rough, goal that I have. Signing off, Ivan. All the best with the rest of your session, champ. Cheers for the insight. Appreciate you, SSL. You have a good one, dude. See you next time. Essentially can completely deplete my entire body in 2 sets, only to the point where my soul is barely staying attached to my body. Wow, Greg. You're a hard-nosed dude, man. That sounds very tough. Oh, God, I need to do another set. I feel like I'm going to rip here. Oh, man. Yeah, it's definitely not a routine for most people, but in my experience, it places the emphasis on the actual progression, the training itself. It goes back to what your goals are. Yeah, for sure. Oh, no, if you're working that hard in training, you will definitely progress. There's no doubt about it. Why do you think it has a seasonal trends? I don't know. I think, generally speaking, during warmer months, my hips, my back, everything feels happier. I just feel more mobile and I feel happier to push heavy weights. When it's really cold like this, I feel like it takes a while for me to kind of feel healthy and happy to load the spine and load the hips. I generally feel a lot happier during summer, and I feel a lot more limber, let's say. I don't know. Because I do spend a lot of time training outside. I'm open to the elements, and when it's like 5 degrees out here, I don't know, it just feels like I can't even get a sweat going. And if I can't get a sweat going, pushing heavy weight is just, I feel like it's just asking for trouble, Oh, goodness. Maybe it's an age thing. Maybe. I don't know. 160, even 165 bench is so much in you, Ivan. You have me seriously beat in strength above 10 reps for the bench press, and knowing you can do 100 for 25 reps, it's there. I hope so, man. I really hope. It just needs to be peaked a little and realized I'm gonna lose my shit when I finally see on her bench. Yeah. That's the most exciting bit about it. And it's not so much setting off the PRs, even though that's fantastic, obviously, as well. But for me, the pinnacle of training is knowing that what you're doing is working. Even though that's in the form of a PR, for me, having confidence in what I've just done to replicate that performance again and again and again over the following couple of months is really exciting to me. That is the pinnacle of training for me. Okay, what I've done here worked. Fuck yeah, let's do it again. That is so beautiful to me, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, goodness me. Oh, man. What's the main goal for the end of the year? Oh, you just missed that answer, man. I just explained seconds ago, man. It's basically end of the year is going to be deadlift and squat. Leading up to that is going to be a bit more benching. Try to use this thing as well to incline bench a little bit as well. Increase the tolerance to pressing, and hopefully I get that 100 for 30 and then 160 for 1. That's kind of the rough goal for the end of the year. Obviously, there's a shit ton of shit amount of time left. Does that even make sense? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Hopefully, actually, to give you a bit of more of an example of why winter time sucks for me is I've got little kids and I'm sick all the time during winter. Yeah, like 5 minutes. So like wintertime for me is always interrupted. Like I'm sick right now. I've been sick for 4 days, and probably in weeks, months, whatever, I will probably be sick as well. I've got a 2-year-old at home, right, and he's going through it. And obviously, people say, "I'll get sunlight and whatever." Like, yeah, my blood works are fine. It's all good. It's just when you're surrounded by boogers and they're coughing in your mouth, you're gonna get sick as well. And so, wintertime for me is usually tough. I've got kids, young kids at home. They give me all the goodness, all the green boogers. And then I go to work and I'm dealing with people with all sorts of different, diseases and things. And obviously wintertime is the busiest time in the emergency. And everyone's coming in with all sorts of sepsis and whatever. And I'm just literally surrounded by all sorts of shit. And so wintertime is usually a very interrupted time for me. This time last year, I considered even quitting squatting every day. I got so fed up with sickness, man. But that's kind of the stage in life. This is one of the elements of why being a parent of young kids, having a young family is so difficult on many aspects. Yeah, so it might be different for some of you guys that are in your 20s and without kids. Yeah, it's just a lot going on. And usually summertime for me is when I display some of the work that I've managed to do during the winter. Dealing with shoulder tendonitis. I honestly think if you reduce your total bench sets and focus on a training period where you focus on a single set, but with the end goal of 30 reps is in stone. Just an idea thought of. Yeah, I mean that's also one element, one style. What's worked for me so far to get to where I am with the bench press is just the sheer amount of volume, just volume, volume, volume. And a lot of people that I know and have heard talk about this, for some reason, bench just loves a shit ton of volume. Bench just loves bodybuilding. And so it's worked for me as well. And so I throw as much as I can. And now that I've got an incline bench, I'll be doing that as well. And so I'll do my 3 sets of 23 with 100 kilos on the flat, or whatever I can do. I'll try and push that to 4th set or 5th set. And then pop off, jump on here on 60s, and just do like sets of 20, 30 even. And yeah, just go from there. Keep adding on sets. Boys, I gotta run in, run inside. I'm gonna have a shower with the little guy. He's got full sinuses. He's the guy, he's the source of my illness. Boogers all over my face, coughing in my face. The whole family has been sick today, this week. And then the weekend I've copped it nicely. So I'm gonna take him in the shower now and hopefully try and drain his sinuses with the hot water and hopefully mine as well, and try and get a good night's sleep. But yeah, I gotta leave you guys to it. Like always, appreciate you. I will do this again same time tomorrow. I always aim to do it around this time. Well, minus 2 hours now. That's when I started. So I'll do that again tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I feel better. Hopefully tomorrow I can actually train. What I've done today is just teasing myself. I haven't lifted heavy at all for days now. That sucks. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, eh? How does that sound? Appreciate you, boys. All right, peace out.